Well, I can go ahead and get started. We may still have a few people join us, but I'm Dr. Shelley Daly. I'm a professor of nursing, and I will be taking over as department head July 1st. And we also have with us Dr. Rebecca Burris, who is our current department head. And I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Instead of just sitting in front of the computer screen talking to you, I needed to come out to campus anyway. So I thought I would show you actually the nursing department and some of our simulation rooms. And we waited just a second to log in because the bell tower was ringing just a second ago. But and I have my child helping me for my cameraman. So I'm gonna let you just. And this right behind me, this is Dean. This is actually where the nursing department is. We're mainly on the second floor for our classrooms, and we have some offices on the first and second floor. So let me take you in, and I'm just going to show you some of our classroom space. And I guess while I'm walking up, Dr. Burris, I guess if we're talking to.
I couldn't hear what you asked me to do, Shelley.
I didn't know if some of the students that were signed in, if you want to introduce yourselves and where you're from while I'm walking up the stairs.
All right. Well, I'm Dr. Rebecca Burris. I've been the department head at Arkansas Tech since 1999 and have been on the faculty since 91, and am really looking forward to retiring the last day of this month. So the things I like to do when I'm not working are hiking, backpacking, canoeing, kayaking, running. So I'm looking forward to doing more of those outdoor things. Deidre, you're with Tech, right?
Yes, ma'am. I work in the admissions office as one of the admissions officers. So we have 3 students here with us today so far. Like I was saying, I'll monitor the admitted students wanting to get admitted. So we might have a couple, but right now we have these 3 ladies with us this morning.
Okay, well, go ahead with the introductions. Alyssa, is it Alyssa Gaddis? I see you on the screen. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, I'm Alyssa Gaddis. I'm from Scranton High School, and I'm very excited to join ATU in the fall. And things I like to do other than babysitting, because I have my nephew full time, is I like to kayak as well.
Yay!
And I like riding 4-wheelers and being with horses and just a lot of outdoor things.
Jessica, I think you're next on my screen.
Hello, my name is Jessica. I come from Danville High School, and one of the things that right now I'm doing a lot of is working. I work at Chick-fil-A in Russellville, and some of my hobbies or things that I like to do, I like to listen to music. I love to read, and I really like to learn about, the human body. It's one of the reasons why I do nursing, and I'm looking forward to being an Arkansas Tech student this fall.
Okay, and Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Scorse. I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma. I don't really know what to say about myself. I'm kind of boring. But I'm really interested in nursing and hope I get into it, I guess.
I have cousins that live in Edmond, and I've actually been there several times. Neat place. We don't have as many tornadoes here as they have there.
Oh, yeah, I hope not.
Okay, Dr. Daly, back to you.
Yeah, well, it's nice to meet everyone. This right here is one of our classrooms. We either have tables and chairs in classrooms, or we have individual desks. So this is a classroom. And then we're gonna move down the hall, and I'm gonna show you our simulation lab. So you would expect in nursing that we are gonna go into the hospital and take care of patients, but we also do a lot of things with simulators. And these simulators actually help the students learn, and you can't kill a mannequin, okay? Lots of practice, and even some higher risk things that we don't actually get to see in the hospital or participate in, you get to do it in the simulation lab. So this is a SimMan. And so actually, if you look this way, we actually have a two-way mirror on the top right there. And we will actually have calculating on the other side of that two-way mirror with a computer, and we can control what the mannequin says, what the vitals do, and the students can respond. And we actually just got another SimMan that we're going to put in another office that we're hoping to set up a ventilator with. So it's going to be a lot of fun things we can do with that. Then this right here, this is actually a Pyxis, and this is what at the hospital you would see nurses getting medications out of. So we have one of these that we can practice with students. This area right here, this is our pediatric simulation room. So we have our bed for a pediatric patient, same thing on the control room. And we've got a crash cart that you could use for pediatrics. And then back this way is our OB room. And we have a mom who can actually give birth. And we have a baby that they can take care of right after delivery. And we have the same thing here. We've got our two-way mirror, so we're set up behind that so we can control everything. And then I'm going to take you down the hall a little bit and show you the computer testing room. It's one of the testing rooms that we use. In nursing, we do a whole lot of computer testing because when you graduate, you're going to take your NCLEX to be able to be a registered nurse on a computer. While we're on our way, I'm going to show you, this is just a little debriefing room. And sometimes after simulation on our mannequins, we'll play back videos and come in there and we'll discuss what we did right, what we did wrong. It's kind of like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in simulation stays in simulation. So we debrief and talk about it. And this is one of our computer labs. And then one last room I'm going to take you to is our skills lab. So the other room that I showed you has high fidelity mannequins. They're fancy, they cost a lot of money, we can do a lot of things on them. But also we have some mannequins that are called low or mid fidelity. So we can practice vital signs, we can learn how to do certain skills with patients on these mannequins. So kind of like a hospital, except we don't have participants. And we even have a stretcher for transporting patients. We have crash carts. And we've got our ventilator over in the corner that we're hoping to get set up with our new SimMan. So that's kind of the facilities in a nutshell. I skipped a lot of the classrooms, but once you've seen one classroom, the others are kind of similar. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is with nursing, the first 3 semesters are kind of your prerequisites. So your maths, your Englishes, your AMPs, I'm sure a lot of you have already looked at the schedule of courses. Typically the 3rd semester is when our students would apply for upper division. And then you would start during that 4th semester. So we look at GPA as far as applying for upper division, and we look at something called a TEAS test of essential academic skills. And if you can find that through our website, or you can search. Some people will kind of start studying for that a little bit early on, or just can look at it, and your advisor can talk to you more about it. Once you get into our program, the very first semester, we call it level 0. This is where we learn skills, health assessment, how to use your stethoscope, how to put a Foley in a patient, how to do all of those different things, and some theories courses. Then level 1 is where you actually start clinicals. So that's starting in your junior year. And we usually start the first semester and we go to medical surgical, and you have some other theories courses. You start a pharmacology course. Level 2 is where you will do OB, pediatrics, some surgery, and we have more pharmacology content. Level 3 is where we get into ICU and our psychiatric nursing. And we also do research that semester, and we focus a lot, even through the whole program, we focus on evidence-based practice, but we do a little bit more of that with research because we want to make sure when you leave nursing and you leave school, you don't quit learning. Things are still changing in the medical field and you want to keep learning. Our 4th semester is our community and management, and then we also have something called preceptorship, and this is where our students get to go into the hospital for up to about 72 hours. They get to work one-on-one with a nurse for their shift for about a 2-week period. So you can see what it's like in the real world, and you don't have an instructor right over your shoulder at that time. So basically our program, you graduate kind of a general nurse. You've had knowledge in different areas to kind of see what you might like, what you may not like. And so once you get to working in those areas, you're going to learn more in those specific areas. And the good thing about nursing is too, if you get tired of an area, you get bored, you want something to change, or maybe you've had to move and there's not an opportunity in the same area you were in, you're going to be versatile and you're going to be able to work in different areas too. Some nurses will stay in the same field, the same area, their whole career. Some nurses, every few years, they're going to change around. So it's kind of up to you. When you do enter the nursing program too, you enter as a cohort. So you're admitted with your class, and your class moves from level to level together. So usually you get to be a big family when you do that. And that's good and bad. It's good. I mean, think of your own family. You know, you love them, you've got that support from them, but it's also kind of like that pesky sister or brother sometimes, or sometimes you kind of got a mama of the class, or you've got someone that keeps things in line, or you've got the class clown, you've got those different things, but you really get to know each other because you move through the program together. Also, we do a lot of team teaching in the nursing program. So we try to have our faculty teach to what their strengths and their expertise are. So one class, it may be a 5-hour class, you may have 4 different people teaching you, but because these 2 people are better OB people, and these 2 people have more experience in pediatrics, they're going to teach their content area that they're strongest on. Also, you're going to be going through the advising center, usually the first year, and then they'll turn you over to the nursing department for advising, unless you're a transfer student. And the only other thing I would tell you, if you have a lot of maybe college credits coming in, if you do, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. There may be a little bit of differences that you might look through the handbook where you might can apply just a little bit sooner. So that's something to keep in mind. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. What kind of questions, Dr. Burris, is there something else that you want us to address, or do we want to open it up for questions?
I think just open it up for questions. That was a great overview.
So what questions do y'all have?
How many people are typically admitted into the program?
Okay, we admit twice a year for our pre-licensure program. And I will say we have a pre-licensure program, what most students are coming onto campus for. We also have an RN to BSN program that is for nurses who have an associate degree and they're coming back to get their bachelor's, and that's an online program. We also have a master's degree in nursing administration and emergency management. But our pre-licensure program that you're coming into, we usually accept 35 one semester approximately, and approximately 45 the next semester. So we kind of have a smaller class and a bigger class. Our numbers are limited typically by our hospital space. We can only fit so many students throughout the state, and we will travel for clinicals. You may have clinicals at St. Mary's in Russellville. We may go up to Danville to Chambers, Clarksville, Morrilton. We even travel to Little Rock to Children's Hospital. That's where we get to do our pediatrics, the largest pediatric hospital, only pediatric hospital, standalone in Arkansas. You get to do your clinicals there. A few in Conway. So those are some of the areas where we actually do our clinicals. So that's why our numbers, and sometimes it's easier for us to support a bigger class and a smaller class, just the way it works out with faculty and classroom size. but that's a good question. What other questions? There's no silly questions.
What requirements do you have to be admitted into the nursing program?
Okay. You have to have finished all the prerequisite courses. So if you look on the online at the courses required for the program, your Englishes, your college algebra, psychology, sociology, you've got a couple of fine arts or social sciences in there, and then chemistry, survey of chemistry, AMP1, AMP2, and micro. And there's a micro 2054 and 3054. Most of our students are taking the 2054 microbiology. Once you've completed all those, the semester you complete those courses, you can apply to the nursing program. Like I said, if for some reason you've had some extra courses ahead of time, you can talk to the advising center. There's a few circumstances where if you have everything finished besides maybe 1 or 2 classes, they may let you finish it if it's in the summer before you start in the fall. So that's something that might work for some of you, just depending. So that's what you have to complete or be completing to apply. We look at your GPA. You have to have a 3.0 to apply. What we do, they have a formula where they will plug in your GPA and they will plug in your TEAS score. And there's some formula they look at to put that together, and we take the top 35 or the top 45 with that. And semester to semester, it depends. You know, sometimes we may have 40 students to 50 students apply, and sometimes we may have 60 or 70. It just kind of depends on the semester. But we do apply, so if you don't get in the one semester, we can work with you, and maybe you can work on some classes, improve a GPA or improve a TEAS score, and then you could apply the next semester. What other questions?
How many times can you take the TEAS test?
You can take it 2 times. The reason we did that, we really didn't think it was fair if someone had unlimited resources that they could go take it 10 or 15 times versus someone who didn't have the money to do that a million times. So we wanted to make it fair. So that's why we encourage students usually not to take this TEAS until they are closer to applying, because we want you to have your chemistries and your AMPs and to get a lot more of that knowledge. But that being said, sometimes if you know you're going to have a summer off and you're not going to be taking any classes, sometimes people will get some study guides, kind of like you can get an ACT book. There's some in the library, there's some you can buy online. There's different resources out there that students might use just to kind of prep themselves for that TEAS test. And it's kind of like a modified ACT, but kind of focusing more on skills that we would need coming into nursing.
If you looked up resources for the TEAS test, would it be like the same between colleges? Like, I live in Oklahoma, so would I be able to look up TEAS resources from Oklahoma, or is it different between states?
TEAS isn't actually, it's a nationally, it's a national test. So it is from a company that is known nationally. So if you do the search and you go to their website, and you can find it through our website, it can link you, and you can just get into Amazon and type in test of essential academic skills and look there too. So there's different ways to look for resources, and some of those are available online, or once you get to campus, then there may be some that you could check out at the library too.
I have a quick question. How many times can you apply to the nursing program?
There is no limit on the number of times that you can apply to the nursing program. Sometimes if your GPA is not quite there, but you know, we do encourage students, if we just don't think they're going to be able quite to meet that GPA or having a hard time doing it, there's other ways to get to be a nurse too. So we'll talk with our students and talk about associate routes or LPN to associate routes. And then sometimes we get those students back too that'll come and do the RN to BSN program with us too, because they've already got the prerequisites. So I mean, that's one of the things. We don't have to do that often, but that is something that we can look at. Anything else that y'all can think of? Well, we're excited to get students back on campus. I will tell you, as far as if your mamas are asking or something about COVID and Corona, everything going on right now, we are taking precautions on campus and looking at our classroom setups, the way we teach. Clinical sites, we're making sure that we get protection for our students, and our students are not taking care of COVID patients. Just for their safety, especially as you're learning. And not to say you can't be exposed somewhere, you can get exposed at Walmart, Kroger's, wherever. But we're gonna make sure that you've got the PPE that you need in the clinical setting, and you wouldn't even start, hopefully this is behind us by the time y'all would even start clinicals also. But it is something on our minds that we're working at.
Speaking of that, what is the job placement rate for our nursing students once they finish?
Usually it's 100% if someone wants to be employed. Occasionally we may have someone that's having a baby, getting married, doing something of that nature, that they will not seek employment. But usually most students who applied this last semester, there's been a little bit of a delay because they've closed down a lot of elective surgeries and some different things, and some nurses have kind of been told, let's hold off and we're not going to start your employment until the fall time. So we've seen a little bit with that, but I think once this gets behind us, and that's going to go back to the way it was. I mean, you know, you're an essential worker if you're a nurse, so you know you're going to be needed. So the job security is there. And sometimes you can start with the job, your dream job you want, and sometimes you may have to start in a night shift or in a different area. And then, you know, I started out in pediatrics, and then we ended up getting a lot of overflow of medical surgical patients. And I'm like, I signed up to take care of kids, not all these adults, but I took anywhere from a baby that was stopping breathing to someone in their 80s or 90s needing a blood transfusion that had dementia or had a gastric bypass. And at the time I thought, this is not what I signed up for, but it made me the best nurse. I mean, it really helped me. And in hindsight, because of all that knowledge I gained from that, I was able to transition into other areas, and I think it made me a better nurse. So like I said, you can always end up somewhere else. So
This is kind of an unrelated question, but how do I get a hold of this recording? Because I have a couple friends who were unable to attend this meeting.
We actually discussed that this morning because most of our sessions have been recorded. We are thinking about either putting them on YouTube or sending out a special link at the end of the week for these recordings, so that students who weren't able to attend can go back and watch. And so at the end of the week, you'll get an email, and hopefully we'll have a decision or have a plan by then, and it'll be included in the email. You're welcome. I have a nursing question. So our nursing students, they land jobs out of state, internationally, or in state, wherever they want to go, they can land a job.
Right. The NCLEX is for the U.S. There are some other countries who will accept the NCLEX state licensure. You would be licensed in the state that you're going to start practicing in. There are a few states that are called compact states, well, actually a lot of states, where if you have a license in one state, they would consider that valid for the other state. You would just have to transfer over your license to the other state. So the NCLEX is for the whole United States. So, and our students, when they graduate, most of them take it in Arkansas, but there are some that will take it in Oklahoma or Texas or wherever their home state is. So, and most of our students take if they graduate in May, we've had one already take so far, and then we have, I think, multiple others scheduled this week to take. So usually within the month or two, you can take your test.
So when they leave our nursing program, they are prepared to take the NCLEX?
Yes, they are prepared to take the NCLEX when they leave the nursing program. And the NCLEX is just that you are basically prepared to be a general registered nurse, and that's the test that you take. And that's the same test that any registered nurse would take in the U.S.
What is the percentage of people passing the TEAS test or NCLEX coming from Arkansas Tech? Sorry, I couldn't speak.
That's what, NCLEX, I think our last ratings were right around 90, 91. Rebecca, am I remembering correctly?
Yes.
So we have been at or above the national average, at least for the past decade or more. We've had 1 or 2 100%, but and hope to have a few more of those. But yeah, so we have a good pass rate. And there's a few students every once in a while, if they've got a lot of life, you know, a lot of times they want to get married or they have a baby right after, and sometimes they get distracted a little bit, but usually if they don't pass the first time, they pass on the second time. So, but our goal, and we work hard, especially in that level 4, to make sure that you're ready. We have a lot of different standardized tests that we give you to make sure you're ready, or if you have weak areas, that you can actually study and work on those areas before you actually graduate. So you'll go through a lot of different testing that last semester as we make sure that you're ready to take boards.
I've been taking notes, a lot of notes.
Okay.
Because we get, even as like a recruitment team, while we're out, we get a lot of questions about our nursing program, things like that. So this has been very insightful for me. Ladies, did you all have any other questions? This lasts an hour, but it can go as long as you all need it to. If you all have received all the information that you need, then we can wrap up. It's completely up to you. I think I have had a lot of the questions that I had answered, so I'm really happy with this as well. Did you ladies have any final questions for Dr. Burris and excuse me, Dr. Burris or Dr. Daly? No. Oh, I just thought of one. Are either of you all still practicing nursing right now, or are you all just teaching?
I'm practicing right now. That's a good question. Well, let's put it this way. I was practicing until COVID hit in March. I work at a nonprofit clinic over in Dardanelle,
Okay.
and I'm a nurse practitioner. So I see patients as a nurse practitioner just about 2 or 3 hours a week, and if it works around my tech schedule. And when this all hit, of course, you know, the majority of the clinic is run by volunteers. They were all tied up at their own areas, and then plus, since we're a nonprofit, we did not have all the PPE available. So they ended up just keeping the patients up with all their medications, and they're trying to make plans to reopen. So I was practicing until March. So it's kind of sad. I didn't know that it may have been one of my last days to practice. But we do have a lot of faculty that still practice. We have one faculty member who has traveled up north. I can't remember what state she's in. She's actually practicing in an ICU this summer. She took a travel assignment. She thought it would be good just to stay refreshed and to get some experience with some COVID patients too, so she could help teach our students. We have one of our staff that works in hospice, so she'll work a day or 2 a month, and she's working some this summer at the hospice house. I know we have one nurse that works in maternal, like prenatal clinic at a clinic in town. We'll see some prenatal clinic patients, and she's also worked at the triage center for the COVID triage center. And we have another faculty who does the same and also works in family practice a few hours a week. I know we've had some that work at some psychiatric facilities with some counseling areas. I'm trying to think. We had one of our nurse faculty she's actually leaving us after this year, after 20 years, because she's moving up north with family, but she worked at Arkansas Children's for a while. And then she took a job just for a short time period at Johnson Regional in Clarksville, knowing that they might be shorthanded with if the COVID numbers increase. So she went from a pediatric to an adult nurse and picked up her skills real quick so she could be there to help. So we've had a lot of faculty that still stay current. So we're teaching you, hopefully, the most up-to-date info too. And it always makes class a little bit more interesting when you've got some background and some stories to tell too.
All righty. Anything else, ladies?
What day is tech planning on starting back in the fall?
Oh, do you know that?
I believe the first day was for August. The original first day of classes was supposed to be August 19th. And I believe freshmen were out to move on campus the 16th, which is the Sunday, I'm sorry, the 15th, the Saturday before. So that's what they're still planning to do. Until we hear further notice, we are still planning to start campus and start classes on August 19th.
I know we have groups going right now and we're discussing all that to try to make the best decisions. We plan on being on campus, but I could even see some things like moving into the dorm. They may stagger it a little bit so you don't have so many people at one spot. So they may change the days a little bit there. So there may be some fine tuning that comes about with this. And then I think by the middle of the summer, we'll know a little bit more of what to expect.
All righty. Well, if there's nothing else, then I will let you all go. Like I said, our next session does not start until 11, so you ladies have some time to kind of catch your breath a little bit if you want to join us for another session. And then we have sessions throughout the day. I do want to let you know that this, like I said, this recording will be posted somewhere. We're not sure if it will be a special place or if it will be on our YouTube page, but we're discussing that. So we'll get this posted somewhere. At the end of this week, if you have not heard already, we will be sending out an email. In that email, we will be talking about an app that we will be releasing. It's to help you all stay connected throughout the rest of the summer. Any updates that we have, we can post on that app so you all will be updated immediately at getting notifications from that app. So I would encourage you all to download it. And so you'll be able to do that at the end of this week. And also make sure that you all have at least scheduled your advising appointment if you have not done so already and haven't gotten your schedule. That's very important for you all to do, is to make sure that you get that advising appointment scheduled, especially if you've already chosen your residence hall, because if you are not enrolled in classes, of course, you can't stay on campus. And so they will start removing you from your housing if by August you're not already scheduled for classes. So make sure that you all get that done. So if there's no other final questions, no other comments, or anything like that, I would like to thank both Dr. Burris and Dr. Daly for joining me today. The tour is something completely new. Most of our sessions have been just like sitting at our housings or in our offices. And so I'm glad that we were able to show our students what our nursing department actually looks like, some of our simulation dummies and dolls and classrooms, things like that. So I really, really appreciate that.
Well, thanks. It's great to talk to everyone, and I look forward to seeing y'all next fall.
Yes. See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.